7:04 once again for episode 131 of the 815 Exchange. And yes, it is the first episode of me at 22 years old. Thank you again for all the happy birthdays. Thank you. It was a good birthday weekend. Can't complain. I'm gonna be completely honest. It's the best month of the year, so every day kind of feels like my birthday in February. So let's just keep the momentum going. It was a good weekend. It was a good week. Got a lot of things done. Had a lot of things to do. So successful overall. But ladies and gentlemen, with that said, it is now Super Bowl week. Yes, the vaunted Super Bowl is here, along with what was a very interesting week in college basketball to kind of counter that, and some stuff in the NBA. We got 2 full basketball segments, so we'll be talking about that. And yeah, as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And as always, as I always say, if everything you're looking for can be found in the description. So whether that is timestamps to skip to whatever segment you want to hear me talk about the Kyrie trade, so you want to skip to that NBA segment, you can do that. Whatever it is, feel free to skip ahead. Timestamps are provided. And all my social media links are like they are in the intro, and the outro are provided in the description, and you can find that there if you want to follow my life. Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I've gone back and forth on what to start this off with. And we're just going to do college basketball. We're going to do this like we used to do with college football, all right? We got a very, very big college basketball segment because we were talking about the ladies as well, all right? We're talking about women's and men's college basketball. So, we got a pretty deep segment, so let's start it off with college basketball. Now, there's one particular game that I want to talk about. But we're going to wait, okay? We're going to wait. We're going to get to that after this one. We're going to let me warm up a little bit before we get into that particular game. But still, one of the bigger games of the week, Purdue and Indiana, all right? This is a massive rivalry, especially with the fact that it's anchored by 2 of the best players, not just 2 of the best bigs, but 2 of the best players in college basketball. And honestly, it's been this way for a couple years, honestly, since they've been here. And Zach Edey and TJD himself, Trace Jackson Davis. But Indiana gets it done, 79-74. TJD had 25-7 with 5 blocks. But my goodness, all right? My goodness. Zach, listen, I know we can say what we want. He's 7 for 4. He's massive. Nobody can stop him. You know what? It's true. But you know what? The boy can hoop too. He can hoop too. At the end of the day, there are a lot of tall guys that have not been as productive as Edey, and he's putting up numbers, all right? He had 33 and 18 against your biggest rival. He was pretty much Purdue's entire offense and their entire team. He was the only one that really showed up for the Boilermakers. And really, you could say they didn't give him the ball enough in the second half to win this game. But he was eating TJD alive on the offensive side of the ball. He did everything he could, 33 and 18, nearly 30 and 20. But it was not enough. TJD and this Indiana team, they were the better team. They were simply put the better team on Saturday. Jalen Hood-Schifino, the star freshman for the Hoosiers, had 16 to join TJD in double figures. But yeah, this Indiana team, they came to play, man. They came to play. They came to close. The atmosphere was electric. And they played like they needed that. They played like this was a rivalry game. Like this was a life or death situation. And they weren't leaving. They were not leaving the arena without a W. And they did just that. Congrats to Indiana. Might not be the last time we see these 2 teams match up. Duke and Carolina. Oh, yes. Yes. For 365 days, I've had to hear, it's been much less than that, but it feels like a whole year, of me having to hear all of the talk. It's been excruciating. We beat y'all in Coach K's last home game. Then we retired Coach K. It's all I've heard. The ultimate bragging rights in the rivalry. That's all I heard for whatever 200-something actual days it's been. It's felt like forever. I was tired of it. Today, I am tired no more. I am tired no more because finally, for the first time in forever it feels, we beat. Yes, we beat. They came into Cameron Indoor and we beat Carolina, and there's no greater feeling. On my birthday, no greater feeling. 63-57. We close it out. Jeremy Roach finally looked like Jeremy Roach, or who Jeremy Roach is supposed to be. Boy had 20. He looked like the leader, captain, whatever that we're supposed to have at point guard. Derek Lively, former #1 overall recruit in the country this past year. You know, he's had a little bit of a slow start, battled with some injuries. He arrived. He arrived on Saturday. Of course, facing Armando Bacot, one of the best players in the country, who ended up with 14 and 10. But let's be honest, Armando only had about 2 points in that second half. Also, RJ Davis didn't shoot very well, and Caleb Love, for the first time in probably his entire history of the great rivalry that is Duke and Carolina, did not play like the second coming of Michael Jordan. So, you know, a couple things went our way. P. Nance going 1 for 10 also helped. But yeah, Lively, he's him. All right? Derek Lively, him. 14 boards. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8. 8 blocks. A Carolina Duke record. You love to see it. You love to see it from the freshman. Showed up big time. His rim protection was elite. His defense was elite. He was elite in this game. He looked like the guy that, you know, was in a lottery, top 10, top whatever, you know, going into the season. He looked like that guy. He showed off that potential in this game, and he showed off the ability that we knew he had. And you love to see it. The team has grown up so much. So much from the misery of me having to go watch them get their whooped at Wake Forest. You know, they've grown up so much since then. Even though it's only been like a month. They've grown up so much since then. They actually look like a competent team, and it brought a tear to my eye, honestly. And, you know, there was no greater satisfaction. There was no greater satisfaction than watching and going to social media. And the only thing Carolina fans could cling to, right, besides the usual, the Reds, you know, was, oh, but we beat you. We retired Coach K. We beat you. Ooh, spooky. Ooh, yeah, we beat you in the Final Four. Cool. You lost on Saturday. You'll always have that Final Four win. Congratulations. But you still lost on Saturday. So what have you done for me lately? You've done a lot of losing for me lately, and I love it, right? So, you know, I don't really care. Please, keep on coming with the excuses. I love the excuses. In fact, come up with the excuses in my comment section. Please. All right? Because at the end of the day, it was a great day on Saturday, not just because it was my birthday, but also because Duke beat that God-forbidden, ugly Carolina Blue, and it's always a good day when that happens. Always a good day. Now, moving on, let's talk about the other game, including one of my favorite teams, or at least the school I go to, that had a ranked opponent. Yeah, we played FAU in the biggest game of the year here at Halton Arena, so of course I was at that game. Yeah, we lost 67-52. Goldie ended up with 15, pretty much all that in the second half. It felt like we were winning this game going into halftime, and then we just forgot how to play offense. We couldn't get a shot to fall. Defense fell apart. It was just an ugly second half that made me want to leave, to be completely honest. As much as I love the boys and have friends on that team, it was just an ugly, god-awful, disgusting game. Credit to FAU, though. You know, they held on long enough, and then they proved why they were ranked. You know, they got a great team. They don't really have any, like, particular star. Even though I gave a shout out to Goldine, it's just because he was, like, you know, he stepped up in this game. But they don't really have a star. They're just a very, very good team. They shot amazingly from 3, nearly 50% from 3. They did a great job. And, yeah, credit where credit's due. They took us out. We're on a little bit of a skid. We'll see if we can turn the momentum. But it's been a hard road, especially with Ali, you know, out with COVID. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But FAU, credit where credit's due. St. Mary's takes out Gonzaga. Yes, it happened. St. Mary's took out Gonzaga. Gonzaga is not the same Gonzaga we're used to. Even with Drew Timme being back, it doesn't matter. And Timme had 23 in this game, but ultimately it didn't matter because St. Mary's made a statement. They are now at the top of the WCC. A lot of it due to Aiden Mahaney, the freshman sensation, had 18 points. I think 15 in the second half. He just, cut into the basket. They couldn't do anything about it. He was too crafty. He was making everything. All right, everything he put up was falling in that second half, and he took over that game. Saxon also had 15 and 11. They had 4 starters in double figures. St. Mary's did. The Gales were on fire. All right, they would not be denied against Gonzaga. This is a big-time rivalry game for them, and they play like it. They play with that emotion. And Gonzaga, once again, they are not invulnerable as they've been in the past couple of years. They are very vulnerable. We've seen multiple chinks in that armor, and St. Mary's took a shot, and they didn't miss. Tennessee and Auburn went down to, you know, kind of wrap up the men's college section before I get to the women. Tennessee and Auburn went down to a pretty controversial call. I think it was a foul. I'm going to be completely honest. Since he got 146-43, but I think we should have possibly been going to OT because I think that was a foul. I'm not going to lie, at the end of the game, you can't get into a guy's space and not let him land like that. I don't see how it wasn't a foul. But anyways, more refs, making interesting decisions. And also, top 10 matchup, Texas took out Kansas State 69-66. Rice 14-10 in this game. I think Texas had about 4 or 5 guys in double figures, if I remember correctly. And it was a close, tight-knit battle in the Big 12. But a big win for Texas. I think they were number 10. Kansas State were number 7. So we'll see where they jump up in the rankings. Now let's talk about the ladies. All right, let's talk about the ladies. South Carolina, UConn. It's always a big-time women's college basketball matchup. If you got Dawn Staley and Gina Auriemma coaching at the opposite ends, all right, it's big time, so we had to talk about it. And it was a hell of a game, all right? Aaliyah Boston has not been as good as she was last year when she was the National Player of the Year and all that, national champ. She hasn't been quite on that level of player. Not that anybody, doesn't think she's not one of the best players in the country, but she hasn't been, as good, let's say, as last year. Yeah, she was Aaliyah Boston on Saturday, all right? She was Aaliyah Boston, most definitely. 26-11 for Aaliyah. At least this was yesterday, excuse me. 26-11 for Aaliyah. She was dominant. When Scar needed her most, the star in the sky showed up, all right? And Boston she was cooking. Even hit a 3, all right? Aaliyah was cooking. She wasn't the only Aaliyah that was cooking in this game. Aaliyah Edwards for UConn. Of course, UConn is battered by injuries as they've been seen the past couple seasons. Of course, Paige Bucker's out for the season. Azzy Fudd, who remember we talked about earlier, was averaging 30 a game. She's out, so both former number 1 overall recruits gone. So they're working with a little bit of a skeleton crew, still a very talented skeleton crew, but a skeleton crew nonetheless. Aaliyah Edwards has stepped up big time this season for them. She had 25 in this game. LLP had 19. Audrey Griffin had 17. But even with all of that, even with all that production from those 3 players, it was not enough. All right, UConn would not be denied. Cardoso with 17 and 11 off the bench before she fouled out. Raven Johnson, one of the top freshmen in the country, off the bench, 14 with 7 assists. She stepped up big time. And South Carolina, very close game. But you know what? They held on at the end, got it done, and got a big win. They remain undefeated. Of course, I got to talk about Caitlin Clark if we're talking women's college basketball. My opinion, the National Player of the Year. Though it's fairly close with the woman I'm going to talk about after this, but still, Caitlin Clark was ridiculous this past week. It was disgusting. All right? 7-day period. The woman had 2 triple-doubles. She dropped 42 and 33 in back-to-back games. She beat 2 top 10 opponents. Just absurd. 42 one game, 33 and 12, and then 2 triple-doubles. I have no words. I have no words for Caitlin Clark. She is ridiculous. She is the most entertaining player, I dare say, in college basketball, regardless of gender. It is must-watch. It's must-watch to watch Iowa. Because she's going to pull up from wherever. She's going to make some amazing pass. She's going to put up some ridiculous numbers. And it's going to be a good game because she's going to lead that Iowa team, whoever they're playing. She's going to show up. Just a ridiculous talent. I think, honestly, if she declared this year, she'd probably go number 1 even over Aaliyah. At least there'd be a very big argument about who should go first. But Caitlin Clark, National Player of the Year in my eyes. I do have to give a shout out to Angel Reese because she has been a monster. She had another 20 and 20 game this past week. The number 2 overall recruit in that famed, now we can say Clark Reese, Haley Van Lilith, and of course the one and only Paige Buckers recruiting class back in 2020. She was the number 2 recruit. This is why. How she's been playing for LSU this year, that's why. All right? Double-double machine, and not even like a double-double, like an Oscar Shebe double-double, like 15 and 15 every game, 20-15, 30 and 15, 20 and 20 games, all of it. Angel Reese has been dominant. She's been spectacular. If Caitlin Clark didn't exist, I would say Angel Reese for National Player of the Year. And even so, Angel Reese still has an argument. She's been fantastic. LSU remains undefeated. And we'll be covering more college basketball as we go on. But that is all for this week. We'll let the NBA main event. Since that's actually going on, we'll let the NBA main event. So we'll do the Super Bowl preview right now. All right, the NFL, of course. Glendale, Arizona will be the stage this coming Sunday as the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFC champions, will take on the AFC champion, once again, Kansas City Chiefs. All right. We've got two of the best quarterbacks, probably if Hurts hadn't been hurt, probably the leading top two MVP candidates in Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, of course, starring in this game for the respective teams. We know both these teams can score. They've got offensive firepower. All right, Mahomes, like I said, he's the MVP. You've got Travis Kelce, once again, one of the greatest tight ends to ever lace him up. Jared McKinnon has been great down the stretch for KC as well. Receiver-wise, you got Juju Smith-Schuster, so on and so forth. All right, for Philly, you know the drill as well. Hurts, Miles Sanders, we even throw Boston Scott in there sometimes, Goddard, and of course, that monstrous duo at wide receiver, A.J. Brown and skinny Batman himself, Devontae Smith, have been leading the charge for the Eagles. All right, these offenses can go. All right, which means, could bode well for us in terms of an entertaining Super Bowl. Defensively, both teams, are teams that I had a little bit of questions about, I was like, I don't know. They could be a little shaky. They could be the weak links. They have not been the weak links in this playoffs. All right, both defenses, when it's mattered, they have showed up big time, and they've made appearances, and they have closed out games. All right, whether it's that defensive line for the Chiefs or that defensive line for the Eagles, they have showed up. Jones, Graham, whoever. All right, they have showed up, and they've made plays when it's mattered. I think this is a very evenly placed matchup. I think it should be a very, very good game. A very good game. Like potentially an all-time Super Bowl, because both the teams have a lot of momentum. And like I said, both of them very evenly matched in terms of personnel and just kind of what they have to offer. Because I am a Cowboys fan and because I already have placed money and already picked Kansas City, I have to go with the Chiefs. But I would not be shocked, unfortunately. I have to say this as, being as partial as I can. I would not be shocked to see the Eagles win this game, but I have to put my money on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes getting their second together. But yeah, it should be a good game, man. It should be a good game. Y'all can let me know what y'all are thinking. Let me know your thoughts. And what are your predictions for the Super Bowl? But I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I think we'll see some offensive fireworks potentially in this game, but I can also see the defense stepping up. But for some reason, I just feel like the offenses are going to shine like they have all season. And we can see like a 30-30 game. So yeah, should be interesting. Should be a great Super Bowl. We'll talk about it, of course, on episode 132. Now, entertainment. Not too much to talk about. I'm going to be completely honest. It was kind of a weak week in entertainment. TV-wise, I watched She Would Never Know, K-drama on Netflix. It was pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain. Saw a little story, and it's fairly entertaining. I went through it in a week, so not too bad. On to the next thing in my list. Nobody really dropped the music this week, but we did have the Grammys, so I'll talk about that very briefly. Beyonce breaks the record for most individual Grammys of all time. She got her 32nd. K-Dot won big. I think he won Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, and Best Rap Album. Harry Styles won Best Album of the Year, I'm assuming. Or was it Artist of the Year? One of those two. Alright, it was the big award. I just saw it on Twitter. I didn't really pay attention to the Grammys. Alright, I think a lot of us don't really pay attention to the Grammys anymore. But, I know he won big. Taylor Swift won Best Music Video. And of course, T Swift won some other things, as she always does. But yeah, it was Beyonce's night. Once again, as it always is. It's the Grammys, alright? It's Beyonce's award show. Iconic image of her kind of clinking glasses with Adele, Rich Paul, Jay-Z, and that was a pretty cool image. But yeah, shout out to, Queen Bee for, being Queen Bee, simply put. And congrats on the record. Congrats to K-Dot as well. 17th. He's number 3 all time in terms of male rappers all time in Grammy Award wins. So yeah, shout out to K-Dot on his 17th win at the Grammys. Main event. The main event this week is the NBA. Because some more history. We're really just setting up. Everything this week, we're just setting up for next week, honestly. We're talking about things that we're going to talk about in episode 132. This is just like a prelude week, you know what I mean? So LeBron is 36 points away from breaking the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record in the NBA. I think they play the Thunder and the Bucks upcoming. 36 points. The man is averaging over 30 points a game. I believe around 30. So 36 is not out of the reach for him to get next game. We'll see what happens. I'm sure ESPN will be covering it like their life depends on it. And of course, we'll talk about it next week. But yeah, it's surreal for this to be, we're finally here. It's what we've been talking about for, I think, like the last 5 years, since it was like, okay, Brock might actually be able to break this. And now we're here. Now we're on the doorstep. So yeah, crazy. Again, an ultimate, one of the all-time achievements. And it's going to be one that, even with the increased pace of play, I think it's going to be one that's going to be very difficult because it doesn't really seem like Braun's slowing down necessarily. We could see him go over 40K. Wouldn't be shocked. 40K, 10K, 10K, I've said it all the time. That'd be super duper cool and a cool achievement for him to have. So we'll see. But yeah, Braun on the doorstep of the points record. Of course, the big news in the NBA this week was the Kyrie Irving trade. Yes, the Kyrie Irving trade, all right? Kyrie, Markieff Morris headed to Dallas for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a 2029, which that pick is in middle school currently. First rounder, a 2029 second rounder, and a 2027 second rounder. All right, an absolutely insane trade. That is just kind of, I feel like they almost took the first trade they saw, honestly, because not gonna lie, Mavs kind of got fleeced. All right, they kind of got fleeced. It's gonna be interesting to see how Luka and Kyrie kind of match up and kind of how they work together. That's gonna be interesting. I think they got worse defensively as well. So when we said Luka needed help, this is not what I was expecting, but we'll see what happens. All right, two great players. We'll see if they can make it work. The Nets, I can see them surviving and being okay from this. We'll see what happens, but yeah, interesting trade. Big time trade. It finally happened. Kyrie, he said he wanted out for pretty much the entire year. Finally happened. Sent to Dallas, not LA. Braun was in his feelings about that, but we'll see what happens. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. And with that, NASCAR is back. Not fully back, but it's back. Of course, we have the LA Clash this past week. Martin Truex Jr. won it. Yeah, he had the best car all weekend, and well-deserved win. They battled, went back and forth. He got it done. UFC, Spivak beats Lewis, first round, sub. Black Beast, I love you. You've done a lot of entertaining moments, but you're finished. All right, you're done. All right, done. Please, hang it up. You're retired. Okay, no more. Don't need to see you do this anymore. It's over. All right, you had a good run, but it's done. Speaking of people who retired, Fedor Emelianenko, arguably the greatest heavyweight in MMA history. He called it a career. Ryan Bader beat him, KO, first round. And yeah, Fedor, pretty much the entire old guard of not just the UFC, but MMA in general were at that fight, by the way. And yeah, Fedor hung it up. It was time. Honestly, it's been time for a little bit, but arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time. And yeah, shout out to Fedor on a great career. And yeah, hopefully shout out to Black Beast soon to be, you were saying, on a great career, because I cannot keep watching you get beat up in this fashion. The time has come and it's gone. Alright, but anyways, like I said, this week pretty much a setup for next week. Yeah, see you for episode 132. But without further ado, y'all signing off.